On the eve of the dragon year, at the age of 6, I was abandoned by my parents in a pile of firewood amidst the snowstorm, all because of a fortune teller's prophecy. My older brother was deemed as a lucky star of the dragon destiny, while I, a simple child, was predicted to drain away his good luck. I was taken in by a poor family, and in just 3 days, they suddenly came into wealth and distinction. However, when my parents found out, they accused me of being a disaster that sucked away their good fortune. There, with drool all over my face and a silly smile, they yelled, "You are bad, you deserve to die." "Mom, I'm cold, I want to go home," I innocently pleaded from the pile of firewood, tugging at my mother's sleeves, hoping she would take me home. "My name is Suisui, I have no family name. My twin brother, Zhang Luqing, has been bright since childhood and is deeply loved by our father." I, on the other hand, lagged behind, taking until my 2nd year to learn how to crawl, my 4th year to learn how to walk, and barely able to stand and walk firmly at 6. Dad said I was too stupid to carry the family name, disgracing our noble lineage. Even though everyone didn't seem to enjoy playing with me, I still made the effort to mingle with them, to stick with them, to kiss them. Even though I was always pushed away, at least I had a home. Until today, the auspicious day of the new year. A passing fortune teller prophesied that among the children of our noble family, there was a fortunate individual born with the destiny of the dragon. Yet there also existed a disaster star that would drain away the luck of this fortunate one. Elated, my parents hugged my brother tightly, kissing him love-filledly. "Our son Luqing is destined for greatness. He's sure to bring honor and glory to our family." With a proud lift of his head, my brother reveled in their praise. Next came my mother's discontented gaze. "What about this little one here?" she said disdainfully. "So stupido and dull, keeping him at home might drain away Chenger's good fortune. He's a mess." After much thinking, my father decided my fate. "He can't be kept, it would affect Chenger," he declared heartlessly. "Drag him out and dispose of him." In this way, I was forcefully taken a far distance by my mom and dumped here. She shook off my hands, disgust plain on her face, and left. During the icy cold winter, I was wearing clothes that used to belong to my older brother, yards too large for me. My shoes were lost amidst the chaos. Ah, whose child is this? Did he get lost, or was he abandoned here? And seemingly kind old grandmother stood before me, grinning from ear to ear. But I had a bad feeling about her. She forcibly opened my mouth, lifting my head, scrutinizing me for what felt like ages. "Oh, this one can probably fetch a good price." I never believed in coincidence, but this just feels like my lucky day. But just then, a drool of mine slipped past my lips and fell on her hands. She instantly shoved me away in disgust, almost causing me to topple from the pile of hay. Ah, he's a fool. Why am I so unlucky? Why would I just stumble on good things without a catch? After that, a few more people came by, but all shared the same reaction. "Doesn't anyone like me?" I felt a bit sad, until a modestly dressed woman stooped down before me, brushed away the snow on my face, and whispered, "Poor child, are you lost or abandoned? The county government office is not open today. What should I do?" Then, seeing me giggle, she seemed to lighten up. I slowly reached out my frosty, numb hands and managed to grip hers. "Suisui, home, auntie, get rich, hee, I mumbled, struggling to form continuous sentences. Seeing this, the woman laughed and her mood seemed to instantly improve. "What a sweet mouth you have," she said. "Let's take you home first. Stay there for a few days until the county government office opens. And we send you there. Shame on your parents for being so irresponsible." And so I followed the woman home. Her house was modest by any standards, and appeared even more so compared to my old home at the Duke's residence. It was also somewhat lackluster compared to other houses on the same street. It was evident that times were tough for this family. The woman warmed my hands over an old pot, dried the drool around my mouth, and patted my head. Hearing my stomach gurgle, she laughed, handed me a pancake, and told me to eat slowly. "Poor child," she muttered. "This woman was much kinder to me than my own mother. I wish she was my mom. Would she consider being my mother if she were happy?" So I walked clumsily, snuggled into her arms, and gave her a peck. "Auntie good, auntie get rich, auntie money lots," I mumbled. The woman cradled me in her arms, her face against mine. How could anyone resist such a charming child? She cooed. As her joy ebbed, she sighed. This child must have been intentionally abandoned by his parents. And since the county government's office is closed, the only option is to send him to the charity yard. But how can such a small kid survive there, if it wasn't for our household's financial difficulty? What would be the harm in raising another child? She pondered out loud. I continued to babble, "Auntie, get rich." She stroked my head and chuckled. Silly boy, getting rich isn't as easy as just saying it. Just as she was trailing off, the door was opened abruptly. "Madam, I'm back." "Mom, I'm back." Two figures appeared at the door. A younger and an older man, both carrying several items. Happy at their return, the woman went to greet them. On seeing the items they brought home, she placed her hands on her forehead in disbelief. "I sent you to buy necessities for the new year. How did you manage to purchase so much?" The older man, in a faded official uniform, grinned. "Today we had extraordinary luck. When going to receive our year-end bonus, we unexpectedly met the emperor, who, upon seeing my shabby attire, praised my frugality as a good trait for an official. That remark led to multiple instances of our bonus. While leaving, I bought many things. You and Juaner's clothes are worn, so I bought new ones to make a good start for the new year." Excitedly, the young man started to share his day. "I sold all the paintings piled up for many days to customers, who came to appreciate my artwork. We don't need to worry about food for next year." Seeing their elation, I felt joyful as well, clapping my hands and giggling along. The woman then turned to introduce me, cradling me in her arms. "She's a poor kid, probably abandoned by her family. Found her sitting on a pile of wood, too afraid to move. She was almost turned into a snowman. Didn't even cry, just kept smiling at me. I initially planned to take her to the county government office, but she has a sweet mouth right after she declared a fortune." You two returned bearing good news. Although it might be a coincidence, and our family can't really become rich, I just can't help but like her. In her embrace, I clapped my hands and chortled. "Promotion, get rich. Promotion, get rich." The two men laughed heartily. "She's such a peculiar child indeed," the older man added. "Our lives have improved, and since you like her, we can keep her. Let's make her our daughter." Although I couldn't understand a lot of what they were saying, I knew what daughter meant. So I pecked the woman's face, "Mommy," and then turned and gave the older man a kiss. "Daddy," and finally the younger one, "Brother." From then on, I had a surname. I was Suisui. Suisui had a home again. Suisui hoped her new daddy, mommy, and brother could be happy every day. The next day, my mother tailored a lot of new clothes for me. It was the first time I had so many new clothes. I loved them all. My mother said that clothes stores were closed during the new year, so she could only make clothes for me out of the fabric we had at home. As my brother, Lu Huanzi, stroked my head and saw me adorned in the colorful fabric, he commented, "Suisui looks like a little fortune doll, mother. Your tailoring skills are fantastic. I haven't even seen these designs in the capital." My mother just smiled gently, wiped off my drool, and remained silent. I put on the new clothes and ran around the house, laughing as I ran, shouting, "Mother makes clothes, Suisui's clothes, mother is rich." As I continued to run around, my brother smiled at my silly antics and my mother started to look thoughtful. When I got tired from running, I snuggled into my brother's arms to nap, and mother gently touched my face. "Suisui, tell me, which of these clothes that mother has made do you like the most?" I vaguely opened my eyes, looked at the clothes, and pointed to one of them. My mother frowned slightly, shook her head, and sighed with a laugh. This fabric and design was phased out years ago in the capital. I must be crazy to think a child could. Suddenly, I pointed at my brother's bookshelf. Although the loose household was in decay, we had a large collection of books, which my father and my brother loved to read. Brother reads, Suisui sleeps. My brother touched my head, carried me closer to the bookshelf and said, "So Suisui, point to a book. Big brother will read it to you and then you can sleep, all right?" I randomly pointed at one. He took it and glanced at it. "Haha, this book is from the previous dynasty, and its thoughts don't completely align with ours. If it wasn't for Suisui randomly pointing at it today, I would have forgotten. All right, let's read this one. As my brother read, I fell fast asleep. I had a great year at the Lu's household. After the new year, my father had to go back to the palace, and my brother also had to go to the study room for learning and work. As for my mother, she seemed to be preparing to start a children's clothing store with some money, but a disagreement arose during the selection of the location. My father thought it should be at the top of the street. My mother thought it should be at the end of the street, and my brother thought it should be selected near the private school. Each person stubbornly championed for their own idea, believing theirs was the best. Finally, amidst the arguing, I yawned and stretched lazily. The corner is good, Suisui likes it there. After saying that, I fell asleep on my brother's shoulder. Just before I fell asleep, everyone laughed out loud and agreed to go with my suggestion. When my mother came back, she kissed me several times on the face, not caring about the drool on it. Suisui, your mom's good baby. I didn't know what was happening. I just waved my little hands. Baby, Suisui is a baby. My father and brother also came back, both of them jubilant, as my mother held me in her arms with a beaming countenance. She said jovially, "It's a good thing that we followed Suisui's suggestion to open a clothing store at the corner. Do you know why? Today, a childcare center opened on that corner. There's a never-ending stream of mothers with children coming and going all day, and they always pass by my clothing store, and about the fabric Suisui chose. At first, I only thought of it as a type of fabric that was no longer popular in the capital, so I made fewer clothes with it. Who would have thought that it was only out of favor among women? But children loved it. Today, all of the clothes made from that fabric have been sold out. At this rate, in less than half a month, we can earn back our principal. We will start profiting in the first month. Oh, life is getting better and better." As my mother counted, her laughter grew louder and her eyes brightened. She showered me with kisses. I grinned, and my brother took me from her arms. "I have good news to tell Mother as well. Do you remember the book I read to Suisui a while ago? It's the one Suisui picked randomly. When I was practicing calligraphy in the study, I wrote down the content of that book. Then the person who previously paid a high price for my calligraphy came again. This time he not only offered a high price, but also spoke highly of the content and asked for my opinion. I happened to meet my father, who had come to pick me up from court. Mother, guess who that person is?" Mother was very curious. "Who?" My brother suddenly pinched my face. "Does Suisui know who it is?" I laughed when my brother pinched me. "It's a dragon, it's a dragon." The look on my brother's face suddenly turned shocked. He exchanged a glance with father and told Mother the answer. It was the Emperor in disguise. "Mother, I've really found a patron. I originally thought that after the examination cheat, I would never be a distinguished person in my life. Who knew? Who knew? The Emperor said that my talent is too overlooked just selling calligraphy, and he wanted to admit me into the Imperial Academy." Just as my brother's voice fell, my mother's eyes turned red. She hugged me and started crying like a child. "It's so good, so good. I thought my Juan would be a nobody for his whole life." Just as my mother was about to shed a few tears, my father suddenly laughed and spoke. "Madame, don't cry for now, or you might not be able to take what's coming." Mother looked at him blankly. "Juan will take my place in the Imperial Academy, and I got promoted today." The former Imperial Academy Grand Scholar was a do-nothing occupier. He took countless bribes during his tenure, which enraged the Emperor. He ordered a thorough investigation of the Imperial Academy, and all but me were implicated. The Emperor appointed me as the Chief Grand Scholar, and I can now attend court meetings and hear state affairs. "Hey, madam, how come you fainted from shock?" "Mother, wake up quickly, Mother. Mother, wake up, we're rich." Mother woke up again, holding me while crying and laughing. Our family comforted her for a while. Now I think the best decision I made in my life was to go to that market and see Suisui and bring her home. Everyone was very happy. They were happy. I was happy. So I clapped my hands again. Promotion, wealth. The whole family laughed together. In a blink of an eye, I turned 13. My mom, for the convenience of taking care of me, now takes me to the ready-to-wear shop during the day. One day, as Mom busied herself tailoring new clothes, and I was swinging my feet on a stool playing with the rattle drum my brother bought, My mom warned me to be careful not to fall. Suddenly, a gorgeous carriage pulled up at the door. Looking at the carriage, I felt a strong sense of familiarity, though I couldn't recollect where I'd seen it before. I heard some people inside the carriage were speaking. "Mother, why is my luck so bad, even though that drain on my luck is dead? Yesterday when wrong book was punished by master. The day before yesterday, I fell off the horse playing kuju. And the day before that, I was nearly killed when the second prince's arrow missed its target. My dear Cheng, your mother is pitiful too. You have the fortune of a dragon. Sigh, according to the ladies of the Anguogong and Dingpinghu. The clothes from this store are very good. Their children like them very much. Let's buy some new clothes here to ward off your bad luck." The voices seemed so familiar. Curiosity piqued. I raised my head to look outside. The sudden appearance of the people from the carriage startled me and made me tumble off the stool. It was Jiang's wife, my birth mother, who abandoned me, and my brother who disliked me. Were they here to take me back? I didn't want to return. "Ha ha ha, mother, have a look at this clumsy girl. She's already quite old, but still falls off a chair just like a foolish puppy." I immediately got up and ran into my worried mother's arms. "Mom, don't abandon Suisui. Suisui will be a good girl." Petting my back, my mother assured me. "What's wrong, Suisui? Mom will never abandon you." Just as I looked up, someone pulled my braid from behind, forcing me to turn my head. The pain reduced me to silence. "So, you're the small disaster star that drains Cheng's luck. How is it that you're still alive? That explains why Cheng's been having so much bad luck recently. It's all because of this little disaster star. We initially wanted to let you fend for yourself, but it turns out your life is stronger than we thought. We won't let you affect Cheng's life, we will kill you." Jiang's wife was glaringly pulling my braids, attempting to yank me away from my mother's arms. Upon seeing this, my mother's attitude instantly changed. With determination in her eyes, she pulled Jiang's wife's hand away. My mother was quite strong and Jiang's wife couldn't compete with her, being tugged so violently. Jiang's wife staggered back and crashed into Zhang Lucheng, causing both to fall onto the ground. "Ah, mother, are you trying to squash me to death?" Zhang Lucheng groaned, pinned under his uncontrollably flailing mother, as more and more people gathered to watch the commotion. Jin's wife tried to get up but to no avail. Finally, I started laughing. Seeing me laugh, my mom joined me. It took a lot of effort for Jiang's wife to stand up, while Zhang Lucheng was knocked unconscious by his mother's weight. Jiang's wife initially wanted to snatch me away again, but with Zhang Lucheng out cold, she was anything but relaxed. She promptly ordered her attendants to carry Zhang Lucheng into the carriage. "By keeping such a little disaster star, aren't you afraid she will bring disaster to your entire family?" Before leaving, she glared at us, threatening us to wait and see. However, my mother didn't believe her threats. Instead, she responded sarcastically, "What a pile of crap. Our Suisui is a huge lucky star." Ever since that day, business at my mother's ready-made clothes store started facing challenges. The problem arose because officials from the Goose estate started coming frequently to cause trouble. Despite being high-ranking and maintaining a noble reputation in society, Jiang's wife always found a nasty way around it. The officials would loiter in the store with no real purpose, perhaps waiting for an opportune moment to snatch me. Once the noble ladies spotted the menacing attitudes of the Goose estate people, they ceased visiting the store to avoid offending the Goose family, as my name was not listed in the family annals. Jiang's wife lacked proof to claim I belonged to the Goose family. Hence, she resorted to such methods to intimidate my mother. However, my mother was insistent about not backing down and giving me up. She expressed that judging from Zhang wife's demeanor, I would certainly die if I were returned. However, if the current situation were to persist, the ready-made clothes shop would go out of business. Jiang's wife was never seen after that incident until one day. Her son Zhang Lucheng stormed into the store angrily, followed by her. Zhang Lucheng entered, angrily pointing and shouting at me. "You disaster! It's all your fault that my luck has been so terrible. Once you're back at the Guo residence, I'll make you pay." I observed him limping slightly. I giggled and muttered, "You're going to be crippled, paralyzed." Unable to restrain her anger, Jiang's wife signaled her entourage to surround the store. "Enough is enough, seize her. If needs be, kill that peasant woman. The Gu's estate is powerful enough to deal with any consequences. Just as my mother started trembling from the escalating tension, a calm but somewhat chilling voice echoed in the air. Perhaps the Gu's family thinks they can now publicly murder people, including the family head of a second-ranking official of today's court, brandish weapons and forcibly snatch children. As Jiang's wife turned to face the voice, she suddenly fell to her knees in horror, dragging Zhang Lucheng with her. As they knelt, I saw my father and brother standing behind the man they referred to as His Majesty. The surrounding silence was broken by my enthusiastic voice. "Dragon, Mom, it's a dragon." My mother was about to kneel too, but she was stopped by the man who was laughing joyously. "Truly as interesting as your two loved ones described." Although the emperor, who I affectionately referred to as uncle, had intended to reproach Zhang and her son, my biological father, Zhang Guogong, interrupted. He arrived brandishing a shimmering golden badge, kneeling before Uncle Emperor as if he was the one in the wrong. Left with no choice, Uncle Emperor gestured the two culprits to leave. The look in Jiang's wife's eyes as she departed was terrifying, like she intended to eat me alive. Yet I wasn't very scared. I stuck out my tongue at her. "You're mean, you're gonna die. Your whole family will die," as she stomped her foot in frustration with nothing she could do against me. I found it very amusing. Afterwards, I was led into a place called the Imperial Palace, which looked very magnificent. It was Emperor Uncle who brought me here. He told me that there were lots of fun things here and I could play with anything I wanted. I told him he was a good dragon. Hearing this, he laughed even harder. He asked if I would like to go somewhere with him, and I agreed, stating that a good dragon wouldn't harm me. But I made him promise to bring me back home when it got dark. Uncle Emperor smiled and agreed. He led me to a room that smelled odd and filled with people kneeling down. I didn't like it at all. "Child, that's the smell of herbs. Those who are kneeling are useless imperial physicians. You see the young boy lying there? He is my son. He is ill and hasn't woken up. I hope he can wake up." As everyone watched in shock, I ran over there and climbed onto the bed with a struggle. Someone seemed to want to pull me down but was stopped. I lay next to the boy, staring at him for a long time. Suddenly, I pointed at him and giggled at Uncle Emperor. "Uncle, you are a big dragon, and he is a small dragon." Everyone kneeled and bowed their heads in response. I didn't understand why, but I knew Uncle Emperor was delighted. I like making people happy. I poked the boy's cheek. "Uncle, I like this little dragon. He is so handsome. Can he play with me when he wakes up?" With my brother's guidance, I could now express myself in complete sentences. Hearing my request, Uncle Emperor seemed excited. "Yes, child, if he wakes up, Uncle will have him play with you every day, okay?" I clapped my hands in agreement, and then I bridged my hand to his. "Will you please wake up soon? Please wake up." Many people wanted to stop me. "Miss, the Crown Prince can't be stimulated. Please let go of the Crown Prince's hand." But I remained fixated on the handsome boy. "Please wake up." Suddenly, the boy's hand twitched. "Uncle," he moved. Uncle Emperor had been watching the twitching hand intently. The kneeling physicians crawled over, just to get a look at the boy's slightly moving fingers. "It's a miracle. The Crown Prince hasn't moved for years. Why is it?" When Uncle Emperor spoke again, his voice trembled. "Child, do you want him to wake up and play with you?" I nodded happily. "Then you stay in the palace for a few days and keep him company, okay?" And so I ended up living in the Eastern Palace. Every day I would kneel next to the young boy's bed and talk to him. I always noticed his fingers moving. Occasionally, I would go to the Emperor's study to play. Everyone seemed to be afraid of the Emperor, but I didn't see why. He was very kind to me, just like my dad. Once, when I visited, I saw an angry-looking Duke Zheng leaving the study. As he passed by me, he gave me a fierce glare and warned me to watch out. The Emperor seemed ready to punch him. I rushed over to console the Emperor, even asking him to bend down to listen to a secret of mine. "Don't be angry, Uncle," I said. "I'll tell you a secret. He thinks he's the real dragon, but once he's gone, you won't be angry anymore." The Emperor pondered over my words, and sure enough, he wasn't upset any longer. Suisui was excellent at cheering people up. One day, though, I saw the young boy's eyelashes fluttering. I was just about to share this exciting news with the emperor, when my surroundings suddenly erupted into chaos. Today was supposed to be the day my mom would visit me in the palace, but for some reason I hadn't seen her yet. Instead, Madame Zhang had come to me first. This was my first encounter with Madame Zhang in the palace. It seemed as though she had been waiting specifically for me. From a higher position, she said to me, "I'll give you one last chance. Do you want to come back? If you do, you might not meet such a tragic end. You could even die honorably. After this, there will be no second chances." I found her strange. Frustrated, she glared at me. "You stupid, ungrateful wretch." Only later did I understand why she had suddenly said such bizarre words. The East Palace was being surrounded. When I went out to see what was happening, I saw my mother being held down on her knees with her mouth blocked. Her cheeks were red, as if she had been slapped. Zhang Luqing was standing arrogantly on her back. "I now control this place," he declared. "I've especially brought this old bitch here, and I'll kill her in front of your face to soothe my anger. Otherwise, my hatred towards you will never be quenched." He raved about being the one destined to be the emperor. As he was just about to strike my mother with his sword, I retorted loudly, "Shen Yuan is not a waste. He will wake up. He's a very handsome little dragon, while you're nothing but an ugly, stupid toad." Enraged, Zhang Luqing lunged at me. "You bitch, dare to call me a toad? I'll send you to hell right now." As he was about to strike me, a flying sword pierced his brow. He fell to the ground in an instant, lifeless. And me? I remained unfazed. When Crown Prince Shengyuan stood on the steps, the banner of the Eastern Palace waving behind him, the rebellious soldiers encircling us were dealt with quickly. Additionally, the group of ministers, who had been forced to participate in the rebellion, were all kneeling on the ground. "Long live the Crown Prince." I hurried to my mother, touching her face and hands. Ensuring she was all right, then I ran to Shenjuan's side. He was so tall, towering over me. He looked at me, and I placed my hand into his. "Hold hands," he complied and did not let go. The ones most affected by Zhang Luqing's death were Lady Zhang and the Duke of Zhang. They couldn't understand how their son, the one the fortune teller claimed had the life of a dragon, could die like that. What about that supposed dragon destiny? Lady Zhang cried next to Zhang Luqing's body. My son, the Duke of Zhang, stood there dumbfounded. Why? He was a dragon, he was meant to be. Shen Yuan led me down the steps. Because you never questioned that fortune teller was an ignorant fool, who got not only the life's fate wrong but the person too. Madame Zhang looked up in shock. Zhang Luqing does not have the fate of a dragon, he isn't the Blessed One. The Blessed One is Lu Suisui. Suddenly, there was another authoritative voice. You thought your rebellion would be a breeze. Could you walk into the imperial city as you please or kidnap Lady Jianmen as you prefer? Would there be so many people following your charade? If it hadn't been for Suisui who alerted me, it was Uncle Emperor who had arrived, with my dad and brother behind him. You fools, ever since you cast Suisui aside, your family has been plagued by misfortune. You didn't even question the prophecy once. You deserve to die for your stupidity. Shen Juan's comments were too harsh, and I found it amusing. I laughed out loud. Madame Zhang turned to look at me and burst into tears. My dear Suisui, it was my mistake. I was deceived. I swear I will treat you better from now on. Suisui, won't you please come back to me? I shouldn't have treated you that way. I shifted closer to Shen Yuan, avoiding her. I scratched my head awkwardly. Do you really think you've made a mistake? You just don't want to die, right? But you've been so mean, you're going to die. Madame Zhang was at a loss for words. As for Duke Jiangsu, every member of his family was executed according to their rank. This was their family's fate. I paid no attention to it as I was too busy playing with Shen Yuan. Before my mom and dad returned home, they asked if I wanted to come with them. Just as I was about to say yes, Shen Yuan looked at me again. I kind of wanted to play with him. He was so handsome after all. So I scratched my head and said I wasn't going home just yet. My mom dabbed at tears with a handkerchief, but honestly, I didn't understand why she was crying. Oh boy, Shen Yuan was really busy. Uncle Emperor was a bit too harsh on him. He just woke up, and now he must study every day. But he was impressive, able to study and play with me at the same time, while his tutor was teaching him. He would take notes with one hand and play with me with the other. If I felt sleepy, he would pat me to sleep with the same hand. But why was his tutor always coughing? Did he have a sore throat? Ever since Shengyuan woke up, it seemed Uncle Emperor spent less time in the study. Mostly, Shengyuan was there now. I felt that people were as afraid of Shengyuan as they were of Uncle Emperor, even though they would likely be kind people. As Shengyuan sat in a chair carved with dragons in the study, listening to the people below speaking about things I couldn't understand, I lay on his knees, drawing turtles on the back of his hand. I used to feel numb in my feet. After complaining about it once, Shengyuan would pinch my face to remind me to get up. Once I got up suddenly and scared the people below. "Your Highness, this is not proper," an official started. "If the minister is free." "The wolf pen needs someone to feed the wolves," answered Shengyuan. The official was silent for a moment, then asked again, "Your Highness, do you really wish to marry a mentally deficient girl to be your crown princess?" I stood up, waited for a moment, then with no signs of politeness, leaned into Shengyuan's arms again. "Tired, I need to sleep." The minister nearly lost his balance again. I sensed that Shengyuan was about to get angry. I stretched my too short hand to pat Shengyuan's back and whispered into his ear, "Don't get angry, okay? This uncle is a good person." Shengyuan laughed and let the official leave. After he was gone, I lay on Shengyuan's knees and kept drawing turtles for him. Suddenly, Shengyuan touched my head. "Suisui is not stupid," he said. "You are wise. Right?" His smile was so nice to look at, I couldn't help but join in laughing. My coming-of-age ceremony at the age of 15 was held in the palace alongside Shengyuan's. When this news got out, many people found it inappropriate, saying I was being too presumptuous. But the emperor, my uncle, said that I was worth it and whoever dared to speak nonsense would have their tongues cut out. Time really does fly. I'm already 15. In these 9 years, my mother's clothing store has become increasingly prosperous, with franchises spreading all over the country, truly fulfilling my aspiration of wealth. My father and elder brother have both risen in rank over the same period. My father is now the chief of the ceremonial department, while my brother is the head scholar in the Imperial Academy. My mother told me about how the Lu family was once in decline, so much so that relatives used to shun them. However, now the family home is bustling with visitors. It took only 8 short years to change this situation. She said that the Lu family owes its success to me. I'm not quite sure as to why this is, but I do know that my father, mother, and brother are happy every day, and that I like it when they are happy, which makes me happy too. Yet for some reason, they don't seem as delighted during today's coming-of-age ceremony. Ever since my mother asked me whether I liked Shengyuan, I really don't understand what liking means. I thought about it carefully. "Mother, what does like mean?" I know that Shengyuan's hand is great for drawing turtles on, because he always stays still. Dad and brother are the complete opposite. They say it tickles. And besides, they do not seem to care about my poorly drawn turtles. Unlike them, Shengyuan never finds my drawing unattractive. He even shows my drawings to ministers, asking them whether they think my drawings are good. Also, sleeping in Sheng's arms is much more comfortable than in my dad's or my brother's. Though I don't know why my dad and brother don't hold me anymore while sleeping. Moreover, he told me that I'm smart, not dumb. Following in mother's footsteps, I asked Shengyuan whether he liked me, to which he answered by narrating an anecdote. When I used to suffer from difficulty awakening, I always felt as though I was one step away from death. Life was too painful, and my dreams were always pitch black. One day, without warning, my world suddenly colored and a fairy appeared. She talked to me a lot and said she wanted me to play with her. That was when I thought I should wake up in order to play with her. When I woke up, the fairy had a face. "Suisui, my pet name, what I meant is, it has to be you." I didn't quite understand, but I happily reply. Then I needed to be Shengyuan too. As I was talking, my mother suddenly began to cry. I helped wipe her tears away. "Mother, why are you crying?" Mom cried even harder. Mother is happy for Suisui. I don't know why, but even my brother was in tears, saying, "I don't want this. I can take care of Suisui for the rest of my life." Mother held my hand and asked me seriously, "Suisui, do you want to marry the crowned prince?" I bit my fingers and responded, "Mother, what does marry mean?" It means Suisui wouldn't need to take trouble to go to the palace to play with him. You can stay in the palace and he can always play with you. I clapped my hands. Great, I want to marry him. Upon hearing this, my father and brother burst into tears again. Surprisingly, my uncle, the emperor, was thrilled. On the day I got married, my father, mother, and brother all burst into tears together. When my brother carried me, I could feel his back shaking. I didn't know why, but that made me want to cry too, even though I usually only know how to laugh, not cry. When Xianxia took me from my brother, I unexpectedly could not stop tears falling down my face like broken pieces of beads. I thought if it were not for my father, mother, and brother, Suisui would have died that snowy night during the family reunion long ago, and there wouldn't be today's Lu Suisui. I tugged at Xianxuan's sleeves, wiped away my tears, and then smiled at them, saying the phrase I used to say when I first met them. May you have promotions in rank and wealth. May you have promotions in rank and wealth. Everyone laughed. I also laughed. As long as everyone is happy, that's all that matters to me. I like it best when everyone is happy.